How to add a palm scanner to your project. I won't show the install the drivers, but you will need a scanner. This is a small project with 2 windows copied from the CRM complete example, and we start by extracting the files we need for the .NET assembly into the project. And since we're going to use the optional biometric table, we will extract that as well. So now our runtime directory has all the files we need for the project. So we can close this, and we see that now we want to use system as the very first one, and then include the PVS CSDLL, and that we just extracted into the library. The other piece that we need is a class. So we import a class from the install files and copy it to the project directory. Now we will include palm scanning with this little simple login window. So we go to the code, we instantiate the PVS object that will initialize the libraries and create the connection to the scanner. At the end of the window initialization, we need to load the templates that we will use for identification. For that purpose, we want a local procedure, and this is the unique code that is based on your analysis. We have to add the new biometric table to the analysis. So in new data file, we use the file to an existing database, classic, and the path is our exe project. Alternatively, we could put the template binary fields in each of the data files. And now we do the analysis generation. To save time, I've already put this code in the project, and the key elements are that you need 2 arrays, one of string IDs and one of buffers. So we loop through the biometric table for those entries that apply to contributor, which is the login table. So we add matching entries for each record. Then we call the update templates procedure, passing the 2 arrays, and we just give the information saying how many that we put out and so forth, or an error if it fails. Going back to the window initialization code, the next thing we want to do is set the event processing procedure. We call the set.NET delegate procedure, and this is the procedure that gets entered whenever an identification event or a mismatch occurs, or any other error. To pass the login window so that the event processing knows exactly what window is processing. That requires us to have the PVS event, which is one more local procedure. And we look at that. I've already put it in here. And this is where the processing occurs for whatever the identification needs to do. When you're entered, you get three variables. The request type, which tells whether it's identify, verify, or enrolled that created the event. And then it passes a code, 0 being that it was successful, any other code being an error code. And it passes a string ID. There's one other parameter that's passed, the array, this ABER constant over here, which is only needed for enroll type events, which we'll look at later. But in this case, if it's an identify, the request type is identify, and it was successful, then it reads the biometric file using that GUID. Then it reads the contributor based on the numeric ID stored in that biometric file. And then when it's found, it selects that contributor out of the list, puts the information in the user field, and then for us, for demonstration purposes, we just say that it was successfully identified, and then that we're going to process the button click, which is the validate button. Now, going back to the code again, the next thing that is needed is just simply a identify call. And that is basically all that's required. When closing the window, you want to call the end app process that disconnects this window from the scanner and allows it to be used in another window. Now we can run a quick test.
Ready. Black processing.
A comment about the testing. You saw the messages about the constructor entered and the destructor entered. Those only come out during tests within the project, within WinDev, as you can see from the end test mode checks. The other thing is the type of hand guide is set during the constructor. It reads the INI file and tells what type of hand guide is being used in this process. That's important because different hand guides create different templates. So the enroll has to be done with the same hand guide as the identify. So this is saved there for your access to put in your biometric file or in your data file as to what hand guide is used. The last part of the constructor is it calls the initialize. That loads the libraries and that connects to the scanner. Then on the exit, the destructor, there is a window event set which we did not have in this test. then it will end that event, and it will actually call the end app as well. But I prefer to do it in a controlled way. Next, let me show you how the enroll identification works with the sample project provided. We will start the test. This allows you to reset your test data, and we'll say no. The constructor is entered when you instantiate in the window. That's a test message only. Now we want to set the .NET delegate. We're going to start streaming in both images, both at the same time, which is extra overhead. And we'll start the guidance. Now we'll select to enroll an employee, select one at random, start the enroll.
Ready. Flatten. Hold. Remove hand. Ready. Don't move your hand. Hold. Replace hand for enrollment test. Hold. Replace hand for enrollment test. Hold. Enrollment successful.
Now we have enrolled, and so we're going to load the biometric table, and there's only one in there, and then we're going to start identify.
Ready. Closer. Hold.
And that's it. Thank you for watching, and contact us if you want more information.